All right. Hello there. Welcome to another episode of the Decentralized Real Estate Podcast. I'm Brendan and I'm with my co-host Isaiah, and we have our guest, Trevor Hoffman of TrustTech.io. Really esteemed and used to be and is going to be a big player in the crypto IRA space. And I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey guys, great to be here. Trevor Hoffman, currently co-founder of TrustTech. But previously, before that, started my career in crypto at iTrustCapital, leading crypto IRA platform. But definitely a huge crypto fan, gone down the rabbit hole many times, and excited to be here.
Excited to have you. Thanks for coming. So tell us a bit more about TrustTech. Lots of exciting things in store, huh?
Definitely. So TrustTech, that's kind of the new venture that I'm going off onto. So definitely very early age startup. We're targeting into the crypto landscape. So we are creating a technology stack that allows for non-crypto native financial institutions to be able to easily integrate with our technology to offer these crypto services to their clients. So through our technology, we really kind of have it broken out in two different ways. The main piece is really kind of our core engine, and that is pretty much handles the account administration for the whole life cycle of a client who wants to be able to engage in crypto. So we allow it for KYC, fraud, anti-money laundering. They're able to create an account instantly, fund that account through their individual crypto wallet. So no assets are commingled or combined between other clients' assets or other firms' assets. And then they're able to easily constantly trade 24/7 and just have a great user experience, which we're really looking at it that non-crypto native firms are going to want to be able to offer these services to their clients just so they can maintain a competitive advantage and so they can also retain their younger clients that they have on their platform. So the kind of core target clients that we're really looking at are credit unions, because those ones are kind of really old, outdated financial institutions. However, 40% of the US population are members of credit unions and have a really tribal relationship with their credit union. And they would prefer to be able to access more financial services through those institutions. And talking with credit unions, they are all about it. They're excited. They're trying to get more into this product vertical because they are facing just hundreds of $1 millions worth of outflows going to firms like Coinbase or more neobanks or even just technology-focused financial institutions that are just offering more advanced products for the consumer to use. So with our technology stack, we're trying to make it as easy as possible for these financial institutions to integrate with us. So they'll either be able to integrate our embeddable widget, which will really just kind of act like a wallet for the clients. So it will just be really a full life experience of let's say the credit union member logging into their credit union account on their credit union platform and never having to leave that to access these services. And outside of that, we also are just building out a really big suite of APIs and SDKs for more financial or technology driven financial institution firms that want to offer crypto but have the capability to kind of have a more in-depth integration. So that's pretty much the big overview of TrustTech. But yeah, and really kind of saw this issue while working at iTrustCapital and realizing that there's kind of two different entities that deal with crypto. There's the customer facing institutions and then also the background, like the back office institutions that actually hold the client's assets, process the transactions, and have the licenses. And there's really not a good one-stop shop solution to offer those. If you want to be able to have those backend services, you're going to be vendor locked to a certain institution, which could be hard for those customer-facing platforms that need to worry about growing their client base, maintaining their client base, and keeping their business alive. So we're really trying to position ourselves as the middle layer between the customer-facing institutions and the back office support ones to be able to provide a really agnostic approach that offers a lot of redundancies for these institutions to offer these services.
Nice. Yeah, that's a really good route to just get a ton of deal flow and a really good niche too, because credit unions, they do have a very cult-like following and they're very low tech. Like I have an account at the local credit union and they don't even offer Zelle, right? Like they're dinosaurs in today's world. But they have a lot of assets and a lot of customers that love them. So that's a really good niche.
Exactly. Yeah. And what's cool too is credit unions definitely is one area that we're targeting just because we feel that they're an underserved niche of the financial market. But our technology is kind of like institution agnostic. So we could even have registered investment advisors be able to utilize our technology to offer crypto services to their customers that they're advising, or even trust companies that want to be able to offer more crypto services or become a qualified custodian themselves. They're able to utilize our technology to do that themselves too.
Nice.
Sweet. Quick question, Trevor. Tell us a little bit more about your team, because it's a super exciting idea. You guys have a niche picked out already, which is super exciting. But tell us a little bit more about your team. Like, who are you guys working with? Get us excited. I want to hear more about who you're working with.
Definitely, yeah. So the team right now, we probably have around 5 core members that are working on it for full time. It's myself, and then also a former executive that I worked with at iTrustCapital. We're the 2 main founders and really the only people in the business that aren't super tech savvy and aren't coding 24/7. So it's us 2 that are working on it from the business side. And then we have about 3 engineers that are working for us full time as well. 2 of them really sophisticated engineers that have worked both on front end and back end systems. So there are designated full stack engineers that are in-house. And then we also have a principal data scientist who we're really excited to have on the team, who comes from Alexa or Amazon Alexa. And he helped build out their machine learning capabilities up in their Santa Barbara office. So with that, those are just the core team members right now. We do have some other ones that we're hoping to bring on as soon as we finish raising capital. But outside of that, it's really our partners that I'm excited to work with the most. So one of the back-end custodians that we're connecting to will actually be Fidelity, which we're excited about since that's a really household name institution. And it really is just the top tier financial institution out there right now. And since they've now been able to roll out their custody services for Ethereum and Bitcoin, been able to build out relationship with them where they're excited to service.
That's super interesting. Do you mind telling us a little bit more about sort of how that relationship sort of, came about, if you can? I mean,
yeah. So that one actually, I started talking with Fidelity back when I previously was at iTrustCapital before Fidelity rolled out any crypto products. So that was when they were still kind of under the radar, focusing on more like mining operations and R&D. And I was talking with them throughout iTrustCapital while they're building out their custody product and platform. They're really hoping to partner with iTrust, but unfortunately we weren't able to swing that partnership through. So just been able to keep relationships with them. And since I've been in the crypto space for 3 years and been able to stay at a company that's been successful, become a unicorn, and hasn't lost any clients' assets, we definitely been able to build a great reputation for ourselves in this industry. So that's why Fidelity is pretty excited to continue conversations.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah, I think you might have answered one of my questions, but what assets can you offer? Is it limited to what Fidelity can offer? Is it limited? What's it limited by?
So that's one thing that's unique about us. So Fidelity is just going to be one of the custodians that we'll possibly be integrating with. And even though they only handle ETH and Bitcoin, we'll also have a multitude of other qualified custodians that we'll be able to connect to that could handle and support thousands of assets. So really pretty agnostic for what assets we can offer. We'll probably be more conservative on the launch, probably only go with around the top 15 to 20 market cap coins, because we also see an avenue that we could diversify just from crypto, but also go into more different alternative assets, such as private securities, REITs, private credit, and all those. And especially once more real-world assets become tokenized, then we'll have the technology to already support all those rails. So we'll be a good provider for these financial institutions to step more into the new tokenized world.
Heck yeah, good stuff. Isaiah, you have a question?
Yeah, no, I was having a question because you were saying the partnership's amazing, super cool. You have a super, exciting team, it sounds like. But what are you most excited for rolling out? The year just started. I know obviously you guys have a roadmap, but like, what are some things that you're most excited about as being a co-founder on this project, that it's your baby? Like, what are you most excited to bring to the market? Like, tell us a little bit more about what makes you excited and, gets you up every day working on this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's the whole idea of being able to serve a like underrepresented institution in the market seems to be amazing. And that's our long-term goal is to be able to fill that void currently. But I mean, selfishly, the short term, I'm just super excited to be able to be a founder of a startup here. So I'm really excited to be closing our seed round. So we're hoping to be able to raise 1.5 million to be able to just extend our runway to the next 2 to 3 years. So we'll be able to have some ammo in the chamber to be ready to go. And then after we are able to close that round, then we're able to bring on some more team members to expand our team, solidify all these relationships with our vendors, and kick off more of an intense sales cycle. So that will be really interesting and fun. Probably the medium term, it's going to be really interesting to go through the sales process with these financial institutions, because they are either going to be really aggressive and want these products as soon as possible, or they'll be a little bit more kind of skittish towards it, and they'll be only talking to us because their clients are demanding it. So I'm really excited to navigate those two different sales cycles for those institutions. And then, I mean, long-term, obviously the end goal of every new startup is to IPO. So hopefully we'll be ringing that bell one day.
Heck yeah. No, it's a super exciting journey. Congrats on raising that seed. You want to tell us a little bit more about the process and obviously whatever you can and feel comfortable disclosing, but I definitely know our viewers are super interested in the process and the ups and downs and the trials, tribulations. So
yeah, definitely. So we haven't fully raised our seed yet. We're actually just kicking that off, but we have been able to raise just small friends and family round that has given us kind of some runway. Nice. But really the starting conversations for raising our seed have been extremely exciting. I've been going from talking to more corporate venture capital firms such as like PayPal Ventures that are looking more into fintechs, or talking to just more crypto native VCs such as like A16Z that are just exciting to talk to. And then from there, really we're just pretty much hoping to finalize this raise and be able to get that money locked in. Nice.
Well, best of luck on your journey, and definitely keep us updated. And on the sales cycle, you definitely probably have a lot of really good experience from being at iTrust. What kind of things are transferring over directly from there?
Yeah, so really just grateful to be able to start my career at iTrust. So I really started there about 3 years ago when it was still an early age company. So I was probably one of the first within the first 15 employees, literally started working out of the co-founder's living room. So from there, I've been able to get a lot of experience through pretty much all the crypto markets, and also kind of secondhandly seeing how a startup works and runs. So through there, we kind of, I mean, not to brag too much, but I feel like we created the crypto IRA infrastructure per se, because we've been able to grab the majority of the market for that niche. And what's really unique too is back when we first started, we felt that we were almost the most boring, old school, I guess, less technology advanced crypto company, because we weren't taking control of our clients' assets, because since they were held in retirement accounts, we're obligated to use a third-party custodian. But since doing that, the whole market has shifted to the structure of you have to use a third-party custodian if you are a platform onboarding customers and allowing them to trade. So by having a really early start, by creating that structure and working with different third-party vendors, we've been able to really hone down that infrastructure and process to make it as streamlined and great as possible. So with that knowledge, it definitely opened up my eyes that there is pretty like a huge inefficiency in the current market structure of crypto. But with that inefficiency comes opportunity, which why me and my co-founder were able to kind of take advantage of that and create more of the middle layer solution that's able to connect all the parties together.
Sweet. So I have a little bit of a different question. It's still going to, you mentioned you were one of the first 15 employees. So you said you were literally in your founder's living room. So tell us a little bit more about some of your favorite memories about being one of the first 15 employees. If there's a memorable moment that you guys had, like what stands out to you as, one of your most cherishable moments that you'll never forget while working at iTrustCapital in that early startup?
Just briefly, I guess going through my history at iTrust, since I was only there for 3 years, but in crypto and a startup, it's probably like 30 years of time. So definitely wore many different hats. I started there in a client processing role. So I was actually one of the key lines of communication for talking to the clients. Definitely liked it. When I was there, I saw that we were treating all the clients the same if they had $5,000 or if they had $5 million. So I actually created a high net worth individual department within the client processing department, where I only dealt with clients that were dealing with over $250,000 accounts. So that was really exciting to create my own department pretty much out of the blue within the unit that I was in. And then from there, I was able to move up into business development, and then ended up being the manager of corporate development. So was able to deal a lot with the executive board through the capital raise and all the different, partnerships that we were dealing with on the backside, and dealing a lot with our engineers and product team. But really, I think my all-time favorite memory and thing that we were able to accomplish at iTrust was we were the first company to allow staking within an IRA. So that was pretty cool because I was able to spearhead that project right when I joined on the business development side. So it probably took about like a year to plan out, build, and get it all working. But we were really excited because obviously we all believe that crypto is here to stay. And the most easy example of what staking is receiving a dividend from a stock. So we are looking at it that we're the first retirement account platform in history to allow their individuals to receive a dividend, but just within the crypto landscape. So that was really exciting to do. Unfortunately, it did have to close down after there were some other companies in our area that got in trouble with the SEC for some not so friendly or honest staking services. But we were excited to be able to at least get that out the door and be the first ones through.
Yeah, no, super groundbreaking. I'm sure there was a bunch of legal hurdles and logistical and, really breaking a stigma around a lot of things you guys had to do. Did you ever partner with anyone who went bankrupt? I know we know of a lot of things in crypto in the recent years. So anything crazy out of the blue?
Funny enough, going back to the whole staking conversation and that project that we did, the whole idea of that really came from our executive team saying, we have $2 billion worth of assets on the platform. The clients are trading, they're having a great time, but we got to give them more services. We have to be able to allow them to get yield on their assets. So then we're like, okay, cool, generate yield. Most of it's in crypto. You either got to lend it or you got to stake it. So first thing was everyone was more familiar with how just lending works. So we started talking to more lending providers such as Celsius or BlockFi and Anchorage, and you can name it. There's definitely a couple of other ones that not all of them went bankrupt, but definitely they got in trouble for what they were doing. Yeah. And I think the biggest one that we were able to avoid was working with Genesis. Genesis was a big lending desk. They were the ones that were the lending counterparty to Gemini, where Gemini lost $1 billion of their clients' assets to that lending partner. But we're able to pretty much talk to these companies, ask them like, okay, cool, you're making 20% yield on lending an irrelevant crypto. Like, where does that come from? Does it actually make sense? Yeah. And if their answer is like, oh, it's all in the protocol, then we know that doesn't make sense, because lending is it's a hands-on type of thing. So they didn't pass the smell test, and we were able to avoid those and then focus more on staking to get as native to the blockchain as possible.
You mentioned the smell test. So, what is your smell test? What should the average crypto, especially a non-crypto native, what should their smell test be?
Great question. I feel like that's hard to say, because within cryptos, they're marketing masterminds. So they're able to sell nothing and make it the biggest company in the world or the coolest product in the world when they really don't have anything. So it's really hard to be able to almost have just off the shoulder smell test with it. So that's why reputations really mean the most in crypto. And as long as you're able to stay in the business and stay alive in the business and not steal, not screw people over, and just overall have good ethics, then that means a lot within this small industry. And it's definitely respected and talked about. The people that you know, you can then trust those companies if you trust those people.
Yeah, no, fair.
So I was just gonna say, so speaking of, you said, you started with iTrust 3 years ago, came to mind. So tell us a little bit more about like what got you into crypto. Do you remember sort of the first moment you heard about crypto? Someone told you about it, maybe you saw it on the ad. Like tell us more about how you heard about crypto, what got you into it, and then how'd you go down that rabbit hole? Like tell us a little bit more about that journey.
Yeah, so the first time I heard about crypto and like actually kind of looked at it and thought of it was actually pretty funny. It was in high school. One of my friends was buying a fake ID and he didn't want to MoneyGram or put money in an envelope and sell it or send it over. So he was like, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do about this? So he was talking in our whole group chat and then someone said, what about Bitcoin? So then that sparked my interest and I was like, okay, like what is this? Like, how can you just bypass all the things to be able to transfer money to someone? So that sparked my interest. That was about like 2016. So luckily it was right before the peak of the market. So after that sparked my interest, started following it more and then watched it rise and learn more about it. And then from there, really started exploring just down the market cap. I believe it was probably Ripple. That was an XRP. That's the one that really convinced me because I saw crypto working for more at an enterprise level rather than just kind of the anarchist mindset saying we're going to overtake the dollar because the dollar's not going to get overtaken. So you either have to work with them or they'll take you out. And Ripple from the start was the only company that's like, we'll work with the banks, we'll work with Swift, we'll work with it all. So that's where I liked it, looking at it from an enterprise approach. But yeah, my first definitely kind of bigger investment into crypto was when I was in college, freshman year in college. So got super excited about it going into the halvening. And with that, that's when I started doing all the kind of analysis over the full 4-year cycle and like it just stuck to me. So I was able to kind of make a presentation to my family and convince them to buy me half a Bitcoin for Christmas that year. And with the whole analysis saying that I was going to hit 75K in November of 2022. And luckily it pretty much turned out right, but it hit around 65. But obviously myself, I got too into the rabbit hole. I sadly sold out of that position before I was able to capitalize on it all.
Well, hey, I mean, it still sounds like you got a bag. So it's a nice analysis for sure. 65, 75, that's pretty much hitting on the head. So don't worry.
Yeah, no, definitely fun to look back on. I just wish I published it or something.
So is that your favorite crypto as well, Bitcoin?
I definitely, I would say XRP is my all-time favorite. Bitcoin up there. It's the historic one. It's the backbone of the whole crypto industry. So you just have to love that one. Definitely Chainlink really excites me a lot. Has some good price movement recently. And they're doing really cool things with more, I guess, interoperable blockchains. So you're able to, I believe it's like the CIPP or something like that, where it's able to pretty much transfer different chain link data across different blockchains to kind of have an aggregate view over it. So to me, that kind of eliminates the stress of, okay, I'm in Bitcoin, but the NFT I want is in Ethereum, but oh shit, now I have to get wrapped Ethereum. None of this makes sense. So I feel like that potentially has a lot of solutions out there to make the UI and the UX of dealing with crypto a lot better.
Speaking of NFTs, have you ever participated or owned an NFT before?
I have, and I guess like it's kind of, it's a fun NFT. So it's not like an art picture or anything like that, really. It actually truly has some utility, but it has some more fun utility. So it's a horse racing NFT. So it's by a company called Zrun. And I own a couple horses by them. And then you're able to then enter those NFTs into races against other players. and pretty much win some ETH. So that definitely NFT, because you're able to hold it. It's an ERC20 too, but you can actually play with it and mainly lose money, but try to win some money instead of just looking at a picture that's constantly losing money.
Yeah, Zedrun is one of the really cool NFT projects. Online gambling, who doesn't like to gamble with their with their crypto?
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like that's another natural way for people to figure out what crypto is too. Everyone's been on bet and stake.
That was, I think that was it was close to one of our early ideas. We wanted to do like NFT boxers, MMA fighters. They could actually, fight virtually, similar to Zedrun. And then we're like, well, that's really hard.
Yeah, no, when I was at the Bitcoin Miami conference last year, I met this really cool company called Trebuchet Networks, and they're taking a unique approach. They're an AI NFT card game. So, but with the approach of also becoming an investment kind of firm themselves. So really like the theme of their game is they have different kind of playing cards that are back tested by different trading strategies that are created with AI algorithms. So then users are able to battle their trading cards against each other to almost have AI driven kind of like trading wars. And they're using that card game as the initial like secondary test of their back test from their AI algorithms to then sell those signals to hedge funds and investment firms. So really unique. The founders, it's like three different founders. Two of them were AI engineers at Google, and one of them worked at a hedge fund. So it was a really unique collab that they had.
Wow. Yeah, no, that sounds. I'd like to see the white paper.
Yeah, but definitely let's catch up about DeRE. I heard that you guys had some good movement recently.
Yeah. So we officially closed on our first house last November, pretty much the end of November. It's a 4-bedroom, 1-bath house in Akron, Ohio. Yeah, it's gonna be Section 8. We're getting some work done to it, pretty close to the end, and almost ready for a tenant. So yeah, we underwrote it about 25. I forget exactly the underwritten, but about 25% cash on cash return is what we're projecting. It's a Section 8 property, so rents are subsidized and guaranteed by the government. So our tenant selection is going to be really important, making sure it's not going to be someone who's going to totally trash the place. Obviously, there's some acceptable amount of damage, but we're going to try our best to get someone good in there. It can definitely be hit or miss on that platform. So you get some really good ones, you get some really bad ones, tenant-wise. No, but super excited. We've learned a lot and got a lot done, and excited to rinse and repeat.
No, that's awesome. Start the network effect. Yeah.
People on Twitter didn't like our underwriting all that much, but
I mean, those people have the loudest mouths. Obviously, they're on Twitter.
Yeah, people love to hate, right?
Yeah, we got a lot of hate on Twitter, but you know what? We just keep moving forward. Haters gonna hate. It's cool.
But yeah, no, I mean we'll definitely be updating.
I said at least it shows people care. People are following and listening.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, no, super excited to continue our path. We definitely have some more interest recently with some new team members potentially coming on board. The network effect. So I think we could see some pretty crazy growth here in the next quarter or two.
No, that's awesome. How big is the team right now?
It's just four of us, and hoping to add 2 devs and maybe another finance guy. But right now it's me, Isaiah, Jesse, our marketing guy, and Cameron, another finance. So let's see if we can blend the two. So IRAs, REITs. I mean, REITs is. So you said you're going to invest in some REITs, or potentially you offer diversification, or it's going to be directed by the clients, or what?
Yeah, exactly. So there's some platforms out there that offer REITs. So one of them that we've actually started talking to partner with is called Elevate Money, and they're just pretty much they buy properties, tokenize properties, and they'll open up a secondary market for people to invest in those properties and then sell it on their platform for other individuals to go into. So we're working on them with an integration to allow people to access those offerings directly through our technology core. So either through our widget offering or just be able to connect and access it through API.
Nice. Yeah. So, I mean, right now we're doing kind of a per property tokenization method. I think we keep tossing around which is better to do, per property, or do kind of a REIT based where it's, a singular token and that's directed by a DAO on, what properties they buy, and, how they're managed. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Wanted to get your opinion.
I mean, yeah, like to me, I feel like kind of with that, like luckily, like even if it is like one token for one REIT, tokens are divisible to 16 different decimal points on Ethereum. So it could really
almost infinitesimally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know where it goes into like the legality and the license for the structures. That's where you have to get some lawyers in there.
Yeah.
But how does that tokenization process, how does that work?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a couple different layers to it, but where do I start? So really, what we're doing is we're taking a Wyoming-based LLC, a DAO LLC, and making the smart contract the operating agreement. So you register with Wyoming, and at the local state level, the securities offered by a Wyoming DAO LLC are not securities. The tokens offered for them are not classified as securities. Obviously, federally, it'll be different. It's still we're trying to operate in the gray, not in the red, and so really what we're doing is the smart contract is tokenizing the equity in the Wyoming DAO LLC. And then basically, each NFT is, a part owner of that. And then those owners vote on everything that needs to be done. They can also participate and complete these tasks and basically get a piece of the pie.
Okay, cool. And then are you guys, so is there like, once someone buys one of the tokens and has their share of it, are they able to resell it instantly, or is there a liquidity lockup, or how does that work for the exits?
Yeah. So, I mean, right now we're all not crypto. We did our first property traditionally. So when we get there, we'll let you know. Ideally, we want to be instantly. No. Ideally we want it to be instantly, but that opens a whole can of worms on the legal side. Probably safer for us to do a lockup period, but have yet to be coded.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know typically right now for other, I think companies in the space, it is like a year lockup, I'm pretty sure, before you can start trading the securities in the secondary market. So if we're going to go that route, we'd definitely consult, lawyers on it, but we'd probably have to go the safer route than, operating in the red. So just to be safe.
Yeah, I feel like it probably would be better for just the business in general to kind of enforce a minimal lockup period so people aren't just constantly dumping stuff left and right, because there's never going to be enough buyers for the people dumping. Yeah.
And if it was immediately, there'd be some sort of liquidity pool that could, handle at least some.
Yeah. Maybe it could be cool if you guys look into it to almost have a house account where you guys put up your own capital to then have constant buy orders running. So you could at least give some people a chance to get out quickly if they want to, but then enforce a 20% penalty. So then you're able to then know, and you're able to then resell that portion that you bought using your guys' prop capital inventory back to a new buyer at full discount or at full prices. So you're actually making some money.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good point.
It's a good idea. It's not a bad idea at all. But...
No, definitely the idea of keeping, basically one-to-one. You have the property, but you also have the cash to back it up so that you can cash people out.
Yeah, it's almost like just creating kind of like a small market, I guess, even though you're not really creating a market because you're not trading back and forth or not, but you're just giving cushion.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, just trying to make it fun, like the whole concept is literally creating a group of people to invest in cash flow assets. Like the perfect example was proving the concept with Brendan and his buddy Cameron. They found an asset online, never toured it, found an agent, that was local to Ohio, got him to inspect it, send pictures, all that stuff. They agreed to it virtually, in this new digital world, locked down the property, went through the whole process of the transaction, closed on it. We're really trying to, incorporate that. Like, you don't have to do everything in person. We're trying to move to this new digital world. Like, let's create a group of friends, interact with other people, create business partners virtually, and go close on cash flow and assets, whether that's a small business or, a single family home. And right now it's a single family home, but I know Brendan talked preliminary about sort of small businesses are definitely, in the market right now. And those are exciting as well too. So trying to create something that's fun, inviting, and there's a lot of deals to be made out there. So there's an endless amount of deals, and that's what, we're excited about.
Yeah, it's like a community-centric Zillow.
Yeah, no, seriously. One that really gets people in the door, really trying to lower the barriers to entry. Real estate is traditionally requires a lot of capital, also a lot of knowledge. So you can reduce either of those two things or both. Hopefully both is what we're going for. And allow people to get into real estate for, very cheaply, but also start learning and start completing those tasks. That's really what we're trying to do. Peer-to-peer real estate, like you said, peer-to-peer Zillow. So super excited.
I think the task idea is cool too, because that just constantly creates kind of retention. Because let's say there was that hypothetical lockup period. If someone buys, like, what are they going to do for the next year? Just log into that and look at just the numbers on the screen. But with that,
pretty much.
Go back, like, they have a reason to engage with the app again.
Yeah. Get paid to call, this many leads and try to make a deal, and, get paid to find a tenant or schedule a contractor, or, any one of the tasks that needs to be done to actually close on a house. Yeah. Let's see. I want to go way back. I want to ask, like, FTX, like how did iTrustCapital how did they get influenced by the fall of FTX?
So yeah, FTX was, I would take it even a couple steps before FTX, because FTX was kind of at it was the final mile for all the companies to collapse. During that period, I believe it was I think it started with Luna, that just completely getting depegged. I think they dropped like $28 billion of market cap just overnight. Luckily at iTrust, we didn't have any exposure to those assets in particular. The company never has exposure. They don't hold any assets on their balance sheet or don't have any corporate assets. They just have assets for the benefit of their clients. But we didn't offer that asset to be able to be purchased on the platform. So neither with Luna or USDT. So they're completely safe there. But that really kind of sparked the torch for just the full market collapse, because shortly after that, then it was DeRE Capital that was then getting crunched, and that was a huge market maker. And crypto is notorious for recycling assets and recycling trades with each other. So if one market maker goes down, that could actually represent 40% of the market due to all the wash trading that could occur. And there's the double counterparty, I guess, trades that are occurring. So with that, created a liquidity constraint across the whole market. I remember Solana was probably the worst one. We weren't able to get liquidity anywhere for Solana. None of the trading firms believed that their counterparties were able to actually deliver the Solana that they were trying to trade. So the funding rates for getting into a Solana trade were 1,000+%. So just doesn't make any sense. So, and with that sparked fear across the market. So no one trusted each other. No counterparties did, no vendors did. So with that, kind of made everyone really hostile in the market. And then after that, I believe it was Prime Trust, maybe. I think Prime Trust was a big custodian that fell as well. That one was a custodian that just went down, unfortunately. It lost a bunch of assets for clients. They were caught misappropriating assets and using clients' cash to repurchase assets that were stolen or lost. So that's just outright fraud and not good for the industry in general. And then just finally ending with FTX, how that whole thing just unraveled with it being a horrible hit on the industry, because everyone was associating the issues that happened with the underlying technology and crypto in general, where really it was just an outright fraud. Like, you paid one person and that person took that money to pay the other person who the original person had no obligations to or no connections with, and just lots of bad trades. And like I was saying before, the crypto market is so small and just so recycled that FTX was a fallout of the Luna disaster that happened. Like it's all related, and it's just crazy to see the dominoes fall so quickly. But
Yeah,
I mean, luckily, iTrustCapital, they are here to stay. We are here to stay. We were able to prosper during that time by kind of honing in on the fact that since day one, we have worked with trusted third-party qualified custodians that are regulated by the state that they're in to guarantee that assets are there.
Nice.
Sweet. So I have another question, sort of piggybacking off that, but geared more towards the space in general. You know, we talked about iTrust, we talked about Trust Tech, your new startup. It's all exciting stuff. But tell us more about what you envision. 2024 just started. Tell us what you envision 2024 to sort of go on. There's so much stuff going on. You have the elections coming up. You have all these things going on all over the world. How do you see crypto sort of playing out in this new year? Year of the Dragon, I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that nothing huge in crypto will probably, I guess from like a government standpoint, I don't think anything huge in crypto will pass or go through until the next election, because I don't see that there's no pros in trying to pass something or push anything through going into an election cycle. But the upcoming election, I think, will have a huge emphasis on the future plans of crypto and what the different candidates are intending to do with it. But I'm really hoping to see this year in 2024 more enterprise adoption with crypto. So definitely way more bigger players are paying attention to this space, coming out of stealth mode, acquiring other existing institutions that aren't in crypto but are legacy, like how we talked about Standard Charter and Ripple acquiring that earlier, to be able to just bridge the gap and try to make it more of the same. So there won't be a difference between crypto and financial markets, but crypto will just be a subsector of the financial markets.
So tell us a little bit more about that too, because we want to educate our viewers as much as possible. So tell us a little more about, you'd mentioned before, we hopped on this call about MTLs. What are MTLs? You said Ripple, has 40 of them, and they just recently announced yesterday. Today's February 13th as we're recording this. Yesterday, or was it today, where they acquired a new company. Can you tell us a little more about that? I know, it seemed interesting to you, so I'd love to hear it from you, as you're pretty well versed in this.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously, if we all kind of condone and kind of agree that there's not really any clear-cut regulations for crypto companies, how it can operate in the United States. However, the only closest thing to a clear law is the use of MTLs and the enforcement of MTLs. So MTLs fall outside of the SEC and also the commodities pretty much realm. So they fall underneath FinCEN. So FinCEN services financial services businesses. So you could think of it as in a PayPal or a Venmo or a Western Union, just anything that pretty much deals in financial transactions. So FinCEN looked at crypto and said, okay, we're looking at this as more at a currency standpoint and a means to transfer value rather than a means of investment or a commodity type asset. So with that, they brought all crypto pretty much transactions and any crypto services underneath their umbrella, and required those companies to apply to get MTLs, which stand for money transmitter licenses. And with those MTLs, those are given out at a state level. So you have to apply every individual state in order to get those MTLs. So it's definitely a really hard and long process, but it's a process that's rigorous for a reason, to make sure no fraud can occur between state lines, which definitely should be enforced within crypto, I believe, too. So that's why a lot of the main crypto firms right now, they're reliant on their MTLs in order to operate, as well as more so using a custodian in the background to hold the client's assets.
Sweet.
I wanted to ask, so obviously Bitcoin's rallying right now. What do you think's behind that? Like, you think market sentiment's really improved that much? Like, do you think there's a race for the Bitcoin ETFs, and do you think it's all institutional money that's flowing and making this price increase, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that it's heavy on the institutional side as well, mainly driven by ETF. So obviously ETF, which is huge news across the retail market in general. Everyone was tweeting about it, everyone was hyped about it. However, there's no price action immediately, and that's because people don't really understand how the back end settlement trade structure works within these financial institutions. So they do delayed settlements. So when clients buy the ETF through their advisor, no trades are actually happening until a later point in time when the two institutions on the back end are actually doing the processes to transact with the larger amounts for their clients. So that obviously with that delayed settlement takes more time for price action to actually occur. So that's why I feel like right now has kind of just been the built up of all that. But more so, I think that it's starting to see more so like pension funds and other just giant funds starting to buy Bitcoin ETF to get exposure for themselves, which those are kind of just the invisible money that's operating behind the scenes in the financial world that is just invested in everything and can move markets. And since Bitcoin, I guess even the crypto market in general is it's still around $2 trillion. Like that's a tiny asset class within the financial markets. One firm could move that whole market. So it's only a matter of time before more price explosion happens.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. You think one? Well, I'm not even sure.
I guess some downsides of the ETF that I feel like a lot of people aren't really talking about is one, there could always potentially be a price difference between the price per share of that ETF and the NAV of that fund holding the ETFs, because there's a supply and demand factor when it goes into buying the ETF shares and then also behind the scenes buying and selling the Bitcoin that back that ETF. So there could always be a price gap between those two, which is not driven by crypto market forces or anything like that. That could just naturally happen, which is a risk. As well as more so looking at it that crypto is global and it happens 24/7 every single day of the week, all times. But when you're using it within the financial stock market, you're limited to only entering or exiting Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 on East Coast times, and not even on holidays. So there's huge risk for you get into a big position on Friday, and then on our time on Saturday, a trader wakes up in South Korea and wants to dump their whole Bitcoin holdings, and that tanks the market. But us as consumers, the Bitcoin ETF, are watching the spot Bitcoin market move, praying that the price per share can actually hold up against the NAV that's dropping. When the market's open that following Monday, we're able to sell that ETF. So I think that those are pretty unrecognized risks as well.
Speaking of, like, I wouldn't even say speaking of mitigating risk, but speaking of, let's say, for someone looking to get into crypto, what are some, I guess, I don't always want that question, but let's say you have a friend who's looking to get into, crypto, just heard about it, as we're probably starting to experience, people starting to talk about it again, Bitcoin prices starts to go up. What are some, avenues for education that maybe you'd recommend for the person to start off? Would you push them like towards Coinbase, like to maybe, a custodian to start off with? Like, what are some avenues to get exposure to crypto that you would just introduce to, a non-crypto native?
Yeah, I mean, I would obviously probably say Coinbase. That's going to be your best friend for someone who's just starting out, for at least a place to get exposure. I mean, Coinbase invented the process for taking money from your bank account and buying Bitcoin in one simple destination. That's what they invented. That's what they've been able to do the best at. And that's why it's still the best place to go to easily do that if you're trying to do it for the first time and not trying to take any individual risk on just doing that easy transaction. And then from there, obviously, I mean, outside of that, the research is going to be your best friend, using Twitter, using YouTube, finding a good podcast that you like, and just finding people who are excited about the topics and explain it in an interesting way that makes you want to explore the rabbit hole further. But then outside of that, I think it's really important to learn the benefits of self-custody. So through using Coinbase, I feel like the natural next step would to be able to just get a Coinbase self-custodial wallet. It's just a regular app, so it's really easy for a non-crypto native person to use, but that's the first natural steps into actually owning your own private keys, owning possession of your coins, having your own personal wallet that you're able to control, see on the blockchain. And then from there, start exploring with ledgers or more other technologies, so you could actually have cold storage solutions to store that crypto. But I think it's also important to not go into it with a tribalistic mindset, saying I only like Ethereum, everything else is stupid, because I think, like how everyone says in crypto, like a rising tide lifts all boat. So it's good to get exposure across the board. So I'd probably recommend spreading money across the top 10 to top 12 different assets. Just probably stay away from stables, because there's no point in buying stables except if you just want to transact, but probably people won't. And just find the ones that are interested, because if you're exposed to 10, most likely some of them are going to pop off. It could be a random meme coin, which just drives excitement, which makes you naturally want to look into crypto more. So it's really just about having the enthusiasm to want to understand it and look at it.
Speaking of
Doge.
Yeah, I was about to say, speaking of meme coins, do you have a favorite meme coin that comes to mind?
I don't know. I kind of stay away from all this. Not the biggest fan. I mean, when the meme coin era was happening in like 2021, 2022, I definitely was playing with it. 100% got burned on SafeMoon, like I feel everyone else did. But outside of that, then I was like, I don't really want to keep playing with these meme ones and stuff. The market's starting to become more serious, so let me get positioned in serious assets.
SafeMoon, man. John Caroni, dude. He just got arrested, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah, I think there's some articles. Yeah.
Speaking of Twitter, though, you had mentioned Twitter. What are some? Because I feel like we all follow our favorite influencers, all that stuff. What are some of your favorite Twitter accounts? Just in general, crypto related.
Oh, definitely BitBoy, the best. No, I'm kidding. But no, I mean, I kind of go against my own saying, how I said don't be tribalistic, but I'm a little naturally am, so I always but tend to lean more towards the XRP influencers. So I'm a really huge fan of Kevin Cage, digital asset investor, Brad Kimes, and those. But I think also just stepping outside of the personality influencers, I think it's good to find more established crypto firms and watch their podcasts, their webinars, because they're starting their own marketing units and they're trying to get as much exposure as possible. And those are the actual educated people. It's not just influencers reading other people's tweets on Twitter to then craft their own opinion to push to the public.
Yeah, 100%. That's why we like having you on.
Thank you.
But yeah, good stuff. Anything you want to ask, Trevor, or have us ask you?
No, not that I can think of. Yeah. I mean, what are your guys' favorite cryptos?
Like XRP, definitely the main. Like you said, obviously you gotta love Bitcoin just for the starting of it all. I like ETH, like EVM, the amount of things you can build on it. So yeah, I'm definitely I like blockchain almost more than I like cryptocurrencies. I know they're synonymous, but I'd rather only use blockchain technology instead of having cryptos. It's probably a controversial thing to say, but I think that's really where the benefits lie, is something that's immutable, something that builds on top of each other, something that can be used for instant settlement. And then obviously cryptocurrencies utilize blockchain, and a lot of, like you said, fraud has been rife throughout the community. So Definitely a shame. And I think it's gonna be a while before I think the full sentiment comes back, if it ever does.
Yeah.
And I would say that.
What was that?
No, go for it.
I was gonna say it's kind of unique, like looking at it, like how when we were creating Trust Tech and pretty much idealizing it and creating the infrastructure for it, we try to look at it as the most like blockchain centric as possible too, even though we're not building on the blockchain, but we try to mirror that, knowing that that's the markets we're going to be interacting in. So how we built it out, like the Trust Tech core, that can almost be looked at as an L1 Ethereum. But on top of that, then you could build different apps. So we have the widget application that could happen. We have our SDKs that could just be integrated over APIs to have an experience for institutions, or an API for them to connect to the blockchain or to connect to our application to utilize it. And really from that down back at the core, the layer 1 version, we have, with our sophisticated reconciliation and settlement process, we are partnered with a CPA firm that is also able to offer asset attestations. So we have on-chain verification that's sealed with a stamp of approval from a CPA to guarantee that assets stored in the database are actually held on-chain. So that's pretty much how we've tried to look at using the core themes of how blockchain works and like the things that everyone loves about blockchain, but try to just incorporate those as much as possible in a non-blockchain technology stack.
Nice. Very nice. Good stuff.
Yeah, Isaiah, what's yours?
Oh yeah, that was lit. Mine's pretty similar to both of your guys's. I love Ripple, XRP. I think the main enterprise use case is bank remittances. That's a huge one straight off the bat. I mean, another big thing too is like the whole Swift banking system is so outdated. Like it literally takes forever for money to settle. Like in the space that I work in, we work with wire transfers all the time, and it takes typically a day, which is a long time if you're trying to close a transaction really quickly, and speedily to close is essential. So if you could literally transfer X amount of money in 3 to 5 seconds, like that changes the whole equation, and it allows you to push deals through faster. It allows just everything, ease of use. But so that's why I love XRP. Also XLM, it's literally, I think it is like the gold standard for that, and then you have XLM, which is right there, like the silver standard, like right at like bang bang. And then obviously Bitcoin, just because it's like the gold standard, it's like it's always going to be there to store value. But I would say those are my top. And then Ethereum, like how Brandon was saying, like it's the way I've always described it. It's like a digital sandbox. It's like when you go in any video game and you can play sandbox mode, like in Minecraft, and you can do whatever the hell you want. That's literally how I view Ethereum. They make it so easy to be interoperable and like connect all these different mechanisms that it's super easy for developers. That I feel like, and then I'm not even one. I just see everyone that's building on them. They're like, oh, that's easy. I'm like, yeah, I totally know, but I don't. But I'm like, all right, cool. So that's what I would say.
And I think it's really cool too, being my previous position at iTrust, and I guess even currently now at TrustTech, just being in the industry, the use case for payments and settlements is 100% being recognized, and it's already been incorporated to be used on the blockchain. So back with the whole FTX Luna disaster, there are 2 crypto banks that also went down. That was Silvergate and Signature Bank. Both of those were the biggest banks in crypto and attracted tons of volume because they utilized a blockchain-based real-time settlement network. And that was actually built on Ethereum. It was built by a company called TacitPay. So it was ERC20 protocol, but it was a permission network. So only institutional members of those banks were able to create, I guess at Silvergate, it was the Send network. At Signature, it was Signet. So they are able to create wallets for those networks and then pretty much deposit their funds from their actual corporate accounts onto a tokenized version of that network to have 24/7 settlement and payments. And that was utilized widely within crypto due to the nature of 24/7 trading within the whole space. And now that current financial markets are moving more towards a 24/7 trading environment, faster settlement times, how the SEC recently upped the settlement down or to T+1 day instead of T+3 days. The need for instantaneous settlement and payments is like it's required. It has to happen. And since those two banks went down, having that core technology, there's only a couple other banks that really offer that on a commercial level right now. And they've just been killing it. But really, everyone understands the needs for that. So like new companies, you have to wait in line to onboard to those banks that currently offer their settlement rails, like Customers Bank. It's a huge onboarding process just because they have so much institutional demand to be able to utilize their payment rails. So it's only a matter of time before that explodes more into institutionals and name brand institutions like Wells Fargo and Bank of America. So I'm excited that that core fundamental of how a blockchain can actually be useful was recognized and is actually being used. And it's not just fancy pieces of art that we can attach to.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good to hear. With everything else being so instantaneous these days, it's a shock that our central banking payments, I guess I should say central banking, but our banking payments take so long.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully there's something that moves there with like a Fed dollar, a Fed now, or something like that. Yeah. But I think it's years out.
What's your? So you think it's years out, but are you proponent or what of a?
Yes, because I mean, really, there's going to be kind of like I don't think that there will be any real change from what it is right now. I think it's all going to be like from the user experience, it's going to be the same, just less cash and more just dealing with through your Wells Fargo account now that you would just using your debit card. But it'll just be like the way that I look at it with the US dollar and like a FedNow system is it's really just an upgrade of the accounting structure for how these dollars are tracked and everything. So because a blockchain is really just it's an open source database that people can look at pretty much and interact with, and everyone's able to write into, and it's not controlled by anyone, so it's immutable and incorruptible. Where now there's like no real big database or big way to track all the money movement. So I think that's like the key benefit of going to the blockchain based system, as well as obviously the instant settlements. You're able to have more control potentially, and and it just seems cool. We all want that.
Yeah, no. So I think there's two sides, right? Like there's people who are saying CBDC would be great, and there's some people saying it would be bad. Those are saying it would be bad. It's mainly like the identification part, like the anonymity of cash is going to be lost if you need to do basically a KYC to have this CBDC. So
I mean, yeah, but like it kind of already is anyways, because like how are you going to get $5,000 right now? You have to go to a bank. Like
that's a really good point.
Like there's always a point and an end point where you could be intercepted and found out about, and like it's not like I don't know.
No, that's a really good counterpoint. Really good counterpoint. Unless you're a drug dealer and you're dealing with only cash for ever, right? No, that's interesting. Yeah. So currently with the Swift network and all this, have you seen the movie Can You Catch Me or Can You Catch Me Now? The Leonardo DiCaprio. Catch Me If You Can. Yeah. I mean, is that happening in today's world, where people are basically cashing checks that their account doesn't have and then running away with the proceeds?
Yeah. So I mean, it happens on actually like a whole lot of different levels. So it happens somewhat like from the biggest ways that I face that is from an ACH standpoint. So ACH is automatic clearinghouse. That's like the way that if you want to send, pretty much like if you send money from your phone and try to get it onto a Coinbase, or if you're trying to get money onto iTrustCapital from your bank account on your phone, you would do that over ACH. And with that, sometimes people are able to send the ACH and then recall the ACH after the account is already funded. So then they're able to have free money on a platform that they could potentially withdraw or trade with. So like that's a small way of counterfeiting. what I actually saw that was pretty interesting in the news recently was it was a credit union that reported there were two individuals that got caught checking in counterfeited bonds. So I thought that was crazy because it's like who even has a bond? Like, is there a paper
Yeah.
certificate for a bond or whatnot? But yeah, so like that just shows people are counterfeiting everything. If you can get away with counterfeiting a bond for $2 million, then
Yeah.
a lot, yeah.
Dang. Yeah. I feel like the risk there is so high if you're trying to,
Doesn't make sense.
exchange a counterfeited bond for something.
Yeah.
Huh. Very well.
Yeah. But I guess also with the digital dollar, I think at first when it comes out, it won't be attractive. I think that there will be a huge divide. A lot of people will like it, a lot of people will hate it. But I think that you can look at that as like the MVP, like the most viable product. That's what's going out there to get launched. But the US government has a roadmap in mind. So they're going to add on services to that US dollar to make it attractive and make it the home base for everyone to utilize. So they'll be able to incorporate into a digital wallet. That's going to be the main source that you go to. That will just be an app on your iPhone. And potentially within that wallet, there will be digital identities. So you won't, whenever you go to a doctor's office, you'll just be able to put your phone up to their machine and you don't have to fill out any paperwork anymore. And that could also be your digital passport. And then what I dream of and hope for seeing in the future is connected through that digital wallet, a way to be able to vote in elections that is guaranteed by the blockchain. Because if you're assigned a digital wallet, that's an address on the blockchain, you are allowed to cast a vote onto or like in using that blockchain, and that'll be recognized on the blockchain. And if you only have one individual wallet assigned to you because you have to pass government issued KYC to get that wallet, then there's really no way to counterfeit votes. And there's no way for the people who are counting the votes to pretty much say, like, to choose what side wins or what side doesn't win, because it's all open source at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's one of the biggest applications that we're gonna see. I was gonna say a joke in there, but USD tethering or staking, my bad. USD staking.
I mean, you could look at that. That's just a T-bill. Like that's a treasury bill. When you put money into a treasury bill, you're investing to guarantee the success of the United States government. And the United States government gives you coupon payments as a reward. Same with staking rewards. And with staking, you're putting money into the blockchain to guarantee and protect the validity of the blockchain.
Yeah, 100%.
Speaking of the digital dollar too, isn't it true that like China's already a couple of years ahead of us? Like they rolled it out on like a public test net. I think it was like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like I heard that they rolled it out, but then like they're also the ones that like every other week saying Bitcoin's banned, Bitcoin's not banned. So it's like hard to tell with that. But I know with like in China, or at least like what I've heard is that they're really, really big into the technology called WeChat. And that's pretty much like a home base for all sorts of activities through social media, payments. And they were able to pretty much Trojan horse that CBDC through that WeChat app. So that could almost be an equivalent of how Twitter could Trojan horse the US dollar, because everyone in the world uses Twitter. No one's not going to use Twitter. And if a new product's out there on Twitter to make your life easier, you're going to inevitably use it.
That makes sense too, because we were talking about this prior to on this. Was I think Twitter every single month I keep seeing them acquire new MTL, correct? I think they're at 17 states and counting right now.
Yeah, and to just throw on like a little more tinfoil hat on it, like Elon Musk just bought Twitter. Before, when Elon Musk started his career, he was at PayPal and one of the founding members of PayPal. When he was at PayPal, he bought X.com, the DNS for it. So he has plans in mind. So that's where I see it. And he comes from payments background. So I think that there could be ways, but also that's just a little tinfoily.
Well, I mean, that's what he's trying to do, right? Is create the WeChat, which is the everything app for the rest of the world, and he's piecemealing it together I mean, it's definitely a little tinfoily, but I think it's definitely possible. Sorry, Trevor. Say again.
No, I was just saying he's just methodical and strategic.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing or even anything more than highlights, but like Tucker Carlson just interviewed Vladimir Putin, and he was saying like Elon Musk is going to do whatever Elon Musk wants to do, and it was basically like saying that the governments need to like figure out how to deal with him as some sovereign citizen. Basically, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch that full one, but I definitely saw some clips of it.
Yeah, no, very crazy geopolitical times we're in, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're maybe too young to even say that, though. Sweet. Well, thank you so much for listening and watching. Trevor, thank you so much for being on. We had a really great time interviewing you. Learned a lot. Had a great time. Any final words for us?
No, just thanks for having me on, guys. Excited for what you guys are doing at DeRE, and just a pleasure talking with you like always.
Wonderful. Yeah, I know. Super exciting stuff that you're working on, and we can't wait to hear more.